Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Teenagers Talk podcast. I'm Lukri, your host, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing relationships. And most of all, we're going to be discussing what I think is going wrong with relationships nowadays. Because, oh boy, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, there's something going on. I don't know what's going wrong with it, but we're just all a complete mess. Well, not all of us. There are some people who are in happy relationships. I'm happy for you guys. To everybody who is really happy in their relationship, I am happy for you. But God, give us the singles something, please. I don't know. I probably should have chosen another topic for today's episode, considering that I could give a lot of advice regarding how to not make impulsive decisions, because a few days ago I exploded and I just said, you know what, next week I'm gonna call the salon and I'm gonna be like, yes, sign me up for next week. I want a haircut appointment. Well, I'm calling the hair salon and they told me, okay, we could get you in today. And I'm like, oh boy, I did not expect to get a haircut that quickly. And I went from, I don't know, rib cage length hair. I don't know how to call it. I got a bob. Yeah, it's amazing. And honestly, I don't regret it one bit. And I'm surprised, because usually I would about 100% regret it. But I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel like crying. I didn't feel like doing anything dramatic. I just went like, yeah, okay, I got a haircut. It looks amazing. New character avatar unlocked. But yeah, anyways, enough with the yapping, because I could yap all day about how I make one decision and then 1 hour later I'm a whole new different person, both physically and maybe, well, not mentally, because we all know that I cannot fix my bad habits. I heard something. Is there a fly in here? Is there a bee? Anyways, focus, Loki. Focus. No distractions. No. Anyways, I wanted to talk about relationships because, as we can all see, TikTok and the internet in general is full of people suffering from heartbreak. And a lot of times, this type of heartbreaks don't really happen because of somebody that was a jerk, even though a lot of times that's the case. No, but sometimes it actually happens because people don't know how to communicate with each other, and maybe something could work out if they just knew how to understand each other's needs and views on life. And that's amazing. It would be amazing if people could do that. But unfortunately, a lot of people cannot. And I'm going to focus a lot on miscommunication, because people just don't know how to say what they want, or how to ask for something they want, or how to not be nonchalant. Everybody, be nonchalant. No, I don't want to be nonchalant. I'm 100% a chalant person. I cannot leave somebody undelivered or seen intentionally for, I don't know, more than half an hour. Absolutely not. You bet I'm going to answer to that person. I'm gonna reply to that person. Yeah, I have no... I have no skill in being nonchalant. I'm actually curious how people actually manage to be nonchalant. But maybe one day I'll find the answer. But I don't want to be nonchalant. I want to be chalant. want to feel. I have a heart, and I want to feel. Anyways, and so let's start. A lot of times things happen in a friendship or in a relationship, and the other person just starts feeling like and one of the people starts feeling like the other person doesn't care about them anymore. And a lot of times it's just because either life gets in the way and they just don't communicate as much, and they feel, and their abandonment and trust issues start getting in the way. And honestly, I understand that. I'm really sorry for you guys, the ones who suffer from these type of things. And when you are just, I don't know, going through a time when you don't talk that much with somebody, or something happens and you just start getting, not really drifting apart, but there's shit happening in life, and then you just start feeling like that person did something, and then your whole vision is on them. Your whole perspective of them changes, and a lot of times, well, actually, it's kind of a 50-50 chance. I don't know, sometimes you can end up being betrayed by that person, but there are times when nothing bad actually happens, and you just get this impression that that person hates you, and then you're just going to start feeling like shit, and then you'll feel like they don't want you anymore, and you'll feel worthless, useless, whatever you feel. And a lot of times you should communicate, and you should say, this thing that you did made me feel bad, even though maybe your intentions weren't bad, weren't to make me feel ignored or feel bad in general. And I just feel like people forget to say, this made me feel bad, or this made me feel like I'm not important for you. And it's not the other person's fault, it's not your fault either, it's nobody's fault, it's just how things go. That's why you should communicate what you don't like. You should communicate what you don't like, so that the other person will know when to do something and when not to do something. And that way you won't, because these things just stack on top of each other, and then they turn into one big thing, and everything just explodes, and then you're going to feel like they don't care about you, and then yeah, things are gonna fall apart. You know how it goes from there. And you should just try to say when you don't feel comfortable with something, or even if it sounds silly in your head, yeah, okay, they did this, I'm going to seem like such a whiny baby. No, if somebody actually cares about you, they'll understand that what they did was not okay or made you feel bad. And sometimes it can actually be something, a bad trait of theirs, and some other times it can just be something not really bad about them, but that happened to make you feel, I don't know, the way you feel. And also, when it comes to love language, I've heard on the internet someone say, things on the internet, I'm not saying everything you hear on the internet is true, but I do feel like this thing makes sense, because, so the video was saying you should love someone by according to their love language, not to yours. Because if your love language is acts of service or physical touch, maybe that other person's love language is not the same. And sometimes these things can apply to friendships too, you know, because there are people who feel less comfortable with I don't know, hugs and all of these type of things. And there are people who just, that's how they express their love. And I have this type of situations. I have friends who don't feel as comfortable being constantly hugged, and I don't know, the friendly stuff. And I personally am a very, very affectionate person, especially in a physical way. I love hugs. I love hugs, handshakes, whatever. And I have friends who feel uncomfortable if I do these type of things, and I just understand. They communicated it. They said, I do not feel comfortable with these things, and I try to avoid doing something that will make them uncomfortable. And if someone is not really comfortable with physical touch, but that's your love language, well, you should try to understand each other, because that's called compromise, and we'll get to that in a bit. But you should love someone by their love language, not by yours, because yes, we have the love language in which we love, but we kind of need to behave in a way that will go according to the other person's love language too, because that's just how you should do it. You should understand and listen to the other person's needs, not just what I'm trying to say is that you should behave according to your way of behaving, but also the other person's needs, whether we're talking about a relationship, a romantic one, or a friendship. And yeah, I mean, I think the physical touch thing is the most it's the best way, I think the physical touch is the best example to describe this. So yeah, it's all about communication. A lot of time, I think my best advice is to talk about your patterns, love patterns in a relationship, love language, and all of that with your partner when you get into a relationship. And also talk with your friends when you get into a friendship. Talk about things that make you uncomfortable. Talk about things that make anyone uncomfortable, you or the others. And you should just listen to all of these things. And also, in another problem that I've seen a lot, and I mean a whole lot, and I don't get it, why people don't discuss these things. So in romantic relationships, a lot of people don't discuss from the beginning what they want from that relationship. A lot of times, for example, one person wants something long term, they want something very serious, and the other one is not looking for something as serious. And this difference of perspectives and what two people want from life ends up destroying the relationship. And sometimes people can get over this, and sometimes people can get over these things, and sometimes they cannot. Sometimes the difference is so big that it just cannot work out as much as you try. But sometimes there are things that could be talked over and could be fixed through communication. And I've heard so much of this type of example of relationship in which two people break up just because one of them wanted, I don't know, marriage, and the other one wasn't ready for this type of stuff, and or somebody was looking for something very serious and the other one was just looking for something fun. And it's a difference of perspectives. It doesn't mean that one perspective is wrong or right. It just means that two people want two different things from life. And yeah, you need to compromise too when it comes to some things, but you need to understand each other's needs too. And now I've talked about compromise. Of course, when it comes to a relationship in which two people have different behaviors, and especially when it comes to love language, if one person, we're going back to the example I talked about earlier, if one person loves physical touch and the other one is 100% against it, then I think no, wait, hold on, no, if one person loves physical touch and the other one is not really big on physical touch, because if there's a huge difference and one is really against physical touch for themselves and regarding themselves, and the other one is really big on physical touch, that might be a bit too big of a difference. I mean, it depends on the case. I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do, and I'm not saying it won't work out. I'm just saying that you need to discuss you need to discuss boundaries very well, and it might affect how loved somebody feels in that relationship. But if, let's say, one of the people in the relationship, one person is okay with physical touch, okay-ish, not a huge fan, but not a complete hater, and the other one loves physical touch, maybe you should find a middle ground, something in between. You need to compromise. The person who doesn't like physical touch should understand that physical touch makes the other person feel loved, feels good, feels safe, whatever, happy, and the one with who loves physical touch should understand that the other person has some stricter boundaries and they should respect it. So they should find a middle ground. And compromise is not only when it comes to love language, it's also when it comes to whoops. Hello? Hey. Okay, going back. Honestly, compromising is not just when it comes to the behavior in the relationship, but also when it comes to decisions. Because when somebody wants something and the other person wants something else, you should also try to find a middle ground. Or not only middle ground, sometimes you take turns. I'm gonna give in and I'm gonna do what you want this time, and next time you're gonna do what I think is good. And also try to share perspectives, because when it comes to important life decisions, you should definitely try to be aware of the other person's perspective and try to understand why they have that perspective, because maybe you have the wrong opinion. I'm not saying this, in a lot of cases there's no wrong or right opinion, but I do think that it's important to, try to understand where you could be wrong. But yeah, there are small things, I don't know, for example, choosing where you want to eat. If you cannot always take the control and take control and just be the one who always comes up with the winning places to eat. I don't know, the couple always eats where one person wants to eat, but never where the other one wants to eat. And I know these are little things. I mean, yeah, food, choosing a place where to eat, but these little things, they stack onto each other, and these little things will start to annoy the other person gradually, gradually over time. And it's the little things that get people to fight. And yeah, you should try to understand, find the dynamic that works best for the both of you, but also while trying to maintain peace, without fighting and saying, oh, but we always have to do what you want. No, it's about understanding each other and doing what both of you want. And in friendships, and also it can apply to relationships as well. You should communicate what annoys you about the other person, because there are a lot of cases in which people just don't understand that they need to communicate what makes them feel bad, because the other person want to know what makes them feel bad. And when they do something that constantly gets on the other person's nerves, they want, let's say we have person 1 and person 2. If person 1 constantly does something that annoys person 2, and person 2 never says what annoys them in that person, and it doesn't have to be something big, it can be little things that make them feel bad, they should say what annoys them, especially if it's not something extremely bad. I mean, if person 1 is being a jerk towards person 2 and using bad words and insults and all of that, of course that's not the case. I'm just saying little things. Yeah, person 2 should also communicate, because, and it's not necessarily something bad that person 1 does, it's just something that makes person 2 feel, I don't know, not extremely good. And when person 2 feels bad, they should say something, because person 1 won't be able to always tell what made person 2 feel bad. But also person 1 should try to understand and try to do something to change their behavior towards person 2. And these things, this is a process, trying to change a behavior that you have, a habit that you have. And honestly, they should just try to communicate it. Person 2 should say what they think about the process, if something has changed, if that thing still bothers them, and if it bothers person 1 to change this habit, to again we get to compromise. And yeah, also I wanted to say something about the miscommunication trope. Why is it so popular? I mean, yeah, it's kind of a life lesson, but why is it so popular nowadays among TV shows and books, especially from the romance genre? Like, just say what you have to say. It doesn't mean that you have to confess, but you can just tell somebody that you care about them, or just ask them to stay. I mean, it's a life lesson. We should definitely use them as a lesson. Even if I know things are a lot of times meant to work out very well in movies and books, but it doesn't mean that it has to end up into some very messed up situation. You just need to be honest, but not the type of honest that could ruin everything. You only confess when you feel okay with doing so. But yeah, and of course we don't want person 1 to change everything about them if person 2, oh no. And yeah, so if it doesn't feel okay confessing, don't do it. But you know how rom-coms work and the miscommunication thing. If you want somebody in your life, just say it in that moment. Don't let it get into something really bad. Yeah, so don't come at me, guys. I didn't say confess or anything. I just said do what feels best, but do say something at least to show that to show the other person that you care about them. And regarding the person 1 and person 2 example, if person 1 has a trait and person 2 just tries to make them change, is being too hard on person 1, and they want to make them change, you should have some boundaries too. Yeah, what I did annoyed you, but it does depend on what type of thing, and you shouldn't be changing yourself for somebody. So just depending on the case, because yeah, there are little things that may annoy somebody else, and we all have bad traits, but it does depend what the other person is asking of you. Yeah, so this was today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lukri, and I'm really grateful for having you today, and I hope I'll see you in the next episode. As always, if you have any questions or requests for any future episodes, just feel free to leave them down below in the comments. And thank you again for watching this episode, and I hope we'll see each other in the next episode. This was the Teenagers Talk podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and on Instagram. Bye!